what is the biggest challenge in your business? Anybody want to share what is really keeping them up at night, really challenging them?
Because of the nature of my work and my ADD, always wanting to just help kind of offer information, my company has found we're just finding ourselves doing a lot of custom GHL work. And it's not so much that work is a problem. It's more that we love it because it's a lot of fun. It's so interesting, but it's not very scalable. And we're saying yes to a lot of gigs, even though they pay good. We have larger missions. It's not just about the business. We also work on our foundation. So it's been a real struggle because we also see the power of GHL. And since we're actively building in it, everything about it is so enticing and tastes so sweet. But I'm concerned that it still could be candy. It doesn't necessarily line up with our longest business values. It's just such a powerful tool, and it seems silly to not contract out your intelligence and your ability to either, make out the framework or physically get it to work inside of it. But it is a legit problem because I find myself saying no to things I want to say yes to, or saying yes to things, wanting to say yes, but honestly, that quiet voice in my head is saying, as the runner of this company, as the executive, you're doing a lot of what you want, but we're giving you enough, honest feedback that you should be more specific about this because you're not really, you're letting your feelings choose, but you're trying to be decisive. So I know it's a weird one because it sounds good, but it's actually, I've lost sleep at night trying to really remedy these two things. So yeah, that's kind of a big one for me right now.
So that's an interesting comment because it kind of dovetails into another one of the poll questions. What do you enjoy the most about your business? So it sounds like there's a lot that you want to do that you think would be great, but how do you find the one or two, the top couple that you really enjoy the most? So I would say that's probably where you want to focus on, is where do you enjoy the most? And so those tend to be the people that respond the most to you. Anybody thoughts from anybody else? Oh, Anik?
The more I get to know Tristan, the more I appreciate. I mean, we have a lot of differences, but I appreciate the things we have in common. And a conversation that we had not long ago, like to me, when I added accountability coaching as a service to my practice and started doing it consciously rather than it's just the way the autistic mind thinks. And if I'm comfortable with somebody and I know that I can be direct with them, this is like a comfortable conversation for me. And so like what I love the most about my business is I started it for myself. The bookkeeping was like, the skies parted, the light of God shone on my path. I heard the angels sing. I had found my place in the world. And then to be able to find a way that makes the way I communicate not only normal, but like an asset, something that people seek out is magical. And the accountability coaching really, I'm tough on myself and others. If you're going to call yourself a coach, you got to hold yourself up to the same standards that, right? You have to be an example of what you're capable of by doing it for yourself. And so I'm easily disillusioned when an accountability coach is not capable of getting feedback, right? And it's like, I'm sorry, I thought I was talking to somebody on my level, and I often have a lot less experience than them, but then I realize the accountability part is a lifelong part of like hyper awareness and whatnot. And so what I love the most about my business is it literally allowed me to find my place in the world rather than figure out like where I belong or how to fit in. It made me a place in the world where what I am is not only acceptable and tolerated, it's appreciated and sought out. And like the authenticity and so when I get stuck, Tristan, with the kind of decision, I come back to accountability and authenticity. And something someone said to me recently, it was Hannah Gatsby. She's a stand-up comedian, autistic stand-up comedian. Instead of saying, what should I do right now, to ask myself, who do I want to be? Who am I right now? Who do I want to show up as? that helps me make those decisions. Like I've turned down money when I needed money just because I don't want to work with this person.
Sure.
Right? So yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful insight. Yeah. It does make a difference when you do find, like you say, where you fit in, where your place is. And it takes a while sometimes to find, but when you do, it's just so amazing. You know, I love it when I work with my clients and I can see that shift from them moving from a business owner that has a job to a CEO that has a business. And all of a sudden they're seeing the world differently. The world really, quite frankly, has not changed, but they're seeing it differently. They're seeing opportunity. They feel better about themselves. They're finding the joy back in their business. I think that's really, really important. I think a lot of business owners, get so involved in just doing the business and getting it going, they lose their joy. And Jake, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say that's one of the great things about starting your own business. You get to choose who you work with. That's awesome. That's a great privilege to be able to pick and choose the people that align with your philosophy or respect you or that kind of thing.
Right.
The customer may not always be right. If they're not, they don't have to be your customer.
Right. And Vance, you had something to comment?
What is your criteria, Tristan, or where's the conflict at of why you're not choosing to work where you want to and where you are? Is it financial reasons that you're doing that, the lower hanging fruit, or?
The short answer is simple. GHL is an incredibly powerful tool. It's also something that's becoming the understructure of my business. So it has a high level of interest, and it is a very profitable thing to sell. So I find myself with low-hanging fruit. However, my long-term goal of finding businesses and neurodivergent individuals and empowering them to run small businesses in America, it doesn't line up with that. It takes up a lot of time and effort, and the exchange is worth it. But when I'm dead on my bed and I ask myself if I would have spent 40 hours working on that project or if I would have spent 40 hours focused on my mission, there's no question which one I would choose. So it's a real interest versus what I'm trying to do for the rest of my life. So the short term, long term, it's a weird one, isn't it?
That's a good one. But we don't want you dead on your bed too often. So
what's the GHL? Sorry, can I just
I was just going to say, did you want to explain what it's a CRM tool? But why don't you go ahead and explain, Tristan, what Go High Level is?
GHL is short for Go High Level. It is a company that white labels a lot. You have all seen new companies that are getting you leads and calls for ads. All of these companies are powered by GHL. GHL is primarily powerful for 3 reasons. In my whole life of knowing technology, knowing programming and workflows, few softwares have had the ability to do what it can do at such a deep level for follow-off contact. I'm very big on someone missed a call. I don't want to text them. I want it to happen automatically. And then when you compound that with, in a world of AI, GHL right now single-handedly is allowing ChatGPT to be facilitated in very specific ways at very specific times. And there's just no other software that can do that. It is technically a CRM, and they sell it to agencies who want to sell software as a solution. But for a nerd like me that knows every workflow, the fact that this could basically take out most people's boring jobs, the tedious work, the scrubbing, the looking back up, it is amazing. And because it's so interesting, a new company comes in, and this new problem, it's like a new steak. I just want to chew into it, but I'm already full. If you're not looking into GHL, I highly recommend, no matter what service you're using, there's not a cheaper one. I do recommend paying someone to get it to work for you because it does have a learning curve because of its powerfulness and its complexity. But hands down, there's no better tool for the value right now. And I don't think there will be for the next 10 years, just based on what I've seen.